I'm going to tell you today why I think Bryan Johnson, the longevity guru, is completely wrong. So first, who's Bryan Johnson? Bryan Johnson, he's a guy that is a successful business entrepreneur. He created Braintree a while back, exited. I think he made over $300 million. So he's been wealthy for quite a while, and he's come up with what he calls the blueprint, which is his longevity formula. He's aiming to kind of live forever or a very long time, and he sells a product, the blueprints, which are supplements, and I think it's got lifestyle elements, and a bunch of people are doing this, and lots of people follow him on X and on other social channels. And I came across him probably a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I mildly follow him just to see what he's saying. Let me first tell you a little bit about his blueprint. So his blueprint is this direct-to-consumer brand that he's created, and I think he sells it as a subscription, and he measures these things that he calls biomarkers, and based on these biomarkers, he says, okay, certain biomarkers, like he's much younger than his actual age. So I think he's in his mid-40s like me. And I don't agree with this approach. I don't think biomarkers are important. I think function is what rules. How well do you concentrate? How's your energy level? How often do you get sick? These type of things. And I think that the problem is a physics problem, not a chemical one. You will never solve a physics problem with a bunch of supplements. Why do I think that I have a case? Well, in the last 3 or 4 years, have improved across many, many metrics. So my energy, I haven't been sick in over years. I work pretty much from around 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. daily, and I get tired. I don't burn out. I've been doing this for a couple of years now. I'm in a good mood pretty much 24/7. I haven't been sick in over 4 years. My complexion's improved. I got rid of a bald spot. Lots of functional things. I tell this to family and friends, and some of my friends have said, well, you should take a blood test. And it's like we've been taught by media and society that a blood test means more than function. Right? And I think that's absolutely stupid. I have no idea what my blood tests would say, and I really don't care. I bet there's people dying of horrible things that have good blood. And I more think of blood as a function of the biomechanics that I talk about. A little while ago, a friend told me, oh, Ken, I understand that you're functioning well, but that doesn't really count. You got to take a blood test. I think he was around 10 years younger than me. And I asked her, when do you get tired in the evening? And he's like 6 or 7 p.m. I work until 10 or 11 p.m. every night. And I asked her, how many times in a year do you get sick? And he's like 2 to 3 times. And I'm like, well, I haven't been sick in 4 years. And I just went on like this. And my point to him was, he's got this great blood test. And so in his view, he was healthy as can be. And yet across all these functional metrics, despite me being quite a bit older than him, I kicked his ass. And for me, the only thing that counts is functional. Now, about Bryan Johnson, so I think what I found interesting about Bryan Johnson is that he is definitely visibly improved. I look at people's skulls. I can read the lines, their profiles, or whatnot. And when I see Bryan Johnson, I see someone that they improved. Like the soft tissue that I look at on their skull and on their neck improves. And so I was kind of curious because I'm used to seeing patterns that reinforce what I believe constantly, every day. Every time I turn on the TV or I'm walking outside and I see people, I'm seeing patterns that reinforce what I believe. And with Bryan Johnson, it was the first time in a while, it's very unusual when I see a pattern that I'm confused at, right? Here's a guy who's doing this nutrient supplement BS, and yet it seems like his skull and neck improved. It perplexed me for a while. And that was one of the reasons why I started following him. I was like, oh, maybe there's something I'm missing. A little over a year ago, a friend who follows Bryan Johnson sent me a tweet that he'd sent. And it was from about a year and a half ago. And on this tweet, Bryan Johnson's talking about how he wears a mouth guard. And so I watch it, and it's, it's a mouth guard that he wears at night to sleep, and he wears it every night. And I'm looking at him like, that right there, that is why Bryan Johnson improved. This is why his so-called biomarkers have improved and he's gotten younger. And I bet it has nothing to do with his blueprint, right? I would be willing to bet on this. If he stopped wearing that mouth guard, you see all his biomarkers go right down the toilet despite all his blueprint supplements. And why? Because physics are what cause us to age, in my view. And I think this is going to be proven beyond a doubt. Like in my mind, it's already proven beyond a doubt based on the things I've seen on my own body. But I think the world is going to get this in the next decade or two. And people like Bryan Johnson are just going to be swept under the rug because it's just not how it works.